Hello everybody, welcome to my review of the masterpiece movie Ironhide. And first things first, we're going to take a look at the box. Nothing special, just pictures, product images, warning labels, barcodes, usual stuff. And then getting into the figure itself, right off the bat, I thoroughly love this figure. It looks amazing and it feels amazing. And one of the things a lot of people complain about is these shoulders. Well, I don't have a problem with them because I don't want them sitting all the way up here like a lot of people position them. I mean, it's kind of dumb to me. If you leave it this way, it does kind of have a gap, but you're never going to see that. And yeah, I just love the way this figure looks, and I think they nailed Ironhide visually, and it's great. And he does have die-cast parts, as usual masterpiece figures do. It's in his feet, his kneecaps, and then his crotch plate, and it's very nice. And let's get a look at some of the details on his face. Okay, you can see very detailed face plate, and I actually saw someone complaining about how one of his eyes is different than the other one and that it was mispainted, but that's actually how his eye is supposed to be sculpted. And it's the same thing with this part right here, because it's supposed to simulate battle damage face. I'm just kind of go down the figure now, some of the details. Oh, and these arm panels are something people complain about too, but I like to leave them here because if you don't have them there, then his back just looks too bare. I like that. Anyway, let's take a look at the guns. They have some silver on them, and it's just cast in gray plastic, but they look good. Same thing on this one. They both spin as well, which is nice little feature. And his wheels are spring-loaded, and so when you move these, it'll always stay in a good spot. It'll hug his body. One of the few issues I have with this figure is actually his feet, because if you look at the bottom of them, they're not flat, and that makes it kind of hard to stand sometimes. I mean, it's easy enough, like, it's very easy, but it's just, you know, sometimes when you're trying to position him, he just kind of falls over. Alright, so we'll kind of be on to the posability a little bit. He's got an elbow joint right here, and he's got two hinges, one ratchet joint here, and I think another ratchet joint right in here, to kind of help get around the front of the truck. And he's got that elbow joint. These things can swivel all the way around on a ratchet joint. His hands, he's got the masterpiece hands, you know, the two hinges at thumb, and then it's the same thing with the index finger, and then these are all molded together with two hinges. And face articulation, he can look up that far, can't really look down, and you can open his mouth that far. Very nice. And if you're playing with this figure, then these joints help a lot. Actually, I love them for it. And for posing, to get certain angles with his holding his gun up, you put these panels in here, and it'll hold his arm up perfectly, so it won't kind of fall. You can get that perfect position. And then his knees, one of the few issues, they can only really go back that far, unless you undo this. They can go back farther, but you actually get it up to 90 degrees of bend there. Feet can go back that far, up that far, toes up that far, can go down a little bit, And this little part in here kind of acts as another toe. Think that however you want. And his legs can go back that far, or forward that far, back that far, and you can kind of undo a double hinge here to kind of get a lot more outward articulation, and you can get a lot more forward and backwards articulation. And I usually use those joints for poses. And he has a soft ratcheted ab crunch. And I think that's about it for posability. Oh, if you wanted to get more of an outward kick, you can undo these and kind of move these wheels out of the way if you needed to do a pose to do so. And yeah, that's it for articulation. And I like this figure a lot. I really do. We're gonna take off the guns. Put these off to a side. Simply because taking them off makes it kind of easier to get him into a better position. He's standing crooked for some reason. Okay. And we're going to compare him real quick to some fairly known figures, I believe. I mean, we have Revenge of the Fallen Voyager class Ratchet. And they scale pretty well in robot mode and almost perfectly in vehicle mode, and so I like to have these two on the shelves. And, right next to each other, and I think it looks good. Until they come out with a Masterpiece Ratchet or Jazz, he's gonna be sitting on that shelf with him. Anyway. So, I guess we can... An issue with this guy is the transformation into his truck. It's very easy transforming him into the robot mode, which he does come packaged in. And, yeah, like I said, it's perfectly simple. And so, everything up until the last parts of the transformation are fairly simple. There's not really a lot necessary to finish them. But however, near the end, there's like a lot of forcing things and whatnot. So, yeah. Anything else I need to talk about? I think that's it. I guess real quick we can talk about these door panels. They tab in very tightly to this tab right in here, and that goes into the slot right here. And people were complaining about how it doesn't sit in there nice, but you just have to. It's on a double hinge, and so you have to make sure that's all lined up. And when you do get it tabbed in there securely, it is in fact very tight. And if you just rewind that, I kind of struggled way more than I should have with that. Yeah. And I guess without further ado, I'll attempt to get him transformed on camera. It is a very long process, and I do feel like the vehicle mode is something that I should go over, because there are most of the problems I have are with the vehicle mode. And I'm never gonna really have them in vehicle mode because the robot mode just is so much more appealing to me. And so, yeah, I guess we'll get into that. Alright, so first thing you're gonna want to do is go ahead and unpop this panel. As you can see, my paint is rubbed off because I've transformed it so many times. And okay, we'll get this twisted around the bicep, kind of towards where we need it to be. Put that part out. And these come down on you see there's a double hinge there. For robot mode, they'll sit higher up the forearm, and then for robot mode, they'll sit higher up, and then for vehicle mode, they'll come down. Just position the hands, get them folded up, and they, not a fist, but like kind of close it up as much as you can, and kind of point the thumb down, or any direction that's going to kind of get it out of the way. And just kind of shift the arm up to where it starts to line up with these, and they're going to lift this part up. Lift up the wheel, because like I said, they're spring loaded, and you just kind of force it through there. Just kind of fold it back up, and then you're going to come to this part, put your finger back here, pull this out, and you see it's got the half of the GMC logo on it, and it's going to flip back in to hide it. All right, and you're going to want to untab the shoulders. All right, and pull this from his throat, and then come back here. It's kind of turning into a bit of a mess, and there's this black tab that tabs right into here. You just kind of unfold everything. Okay, and then here, pull this bumper out. We'll just leave it up here. Okay, I'm gonna pull this down, shift this head in, pop it back up. Then we're just gonna shift the arms up. Just panels down, and move this back. We're gonna unpeg these, unpeg his calves, and you're gonna want to bend his knee and then move this plate up, and that'll form that. And from here, it'll slide out. It's got a slider. We're just gonna bend his foot. We'll just go around it. I think I did it backwards, but there we go. And then pull the wheel down. Once again, lift the knee up. Just kind of straighten out his leg. And just unpeg the bottom of his foot. And just kind of make sure everything's in a good position. Try this again. And then the wheel will tab in right in there. Or the wheel well will tab right into the calf. Okay. And this part will fold down. And then you'll just straighten out the body. And there you have the next thing you're going to want to do is there's little notches in here that'll plug in between what were the feet. I'm just gonna tab that in. And we'll just tuck this in between the arms. There we go. Okay. What you're gonna do is there's a little hook right there on the end of the stand. You're gonna wanna put it and notch it underneath this part in here. I'm just gonna these joints appear on a slider, kind of, so you just kind of wanna shimmy it over to the side. Just, oh, dang it. Oh, there we go. Okay. It's a lot harder to do this on camera, but if I wasn't hunched over on a desk in front with a lamp in front of me, then this would be a lot easier. Just saying. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna shimmy the front of the truck forward. I'm gonna straighten these out. Pull the bumper down. There's little tiny tabs that'll go up and underneath the headlights. You got these little clips in between here that you gotta kind of bend it in at an angle to get into. There we go. Oh, plug that back in. Okay. Alright. And I'll just try this out. And then little tiny tabs on these go into little slots on the wheels. There we go. Okay. And it's pretty much the front and the sides. Yes, front and sides done, and then the difficult part is working on the top. Okay, so basically what you want to do is push, you see these little clips? Okay, so they're going to clip in right behind each other in those little slots. So you're going to want to kind of bend it inward rather than just push forward, because mine have developed stress marks from doing this so many times. You know, like I said, I've transformed this guy like countless times just to try to get a good feel of him, and transformation is still sloppy. And then little slots, tabs, and just kind of force it in there. Make sure the thing's tabbed in. Just together, make sure the front's plugged in right. And I think that's it. Looks good. One issue with mine is sometimes the doors will stick out like a little high, and it's because if you sit these windows, here, I'll pull it out and show you. Try to get my finger in there. sometimes you can push them in a little too far, and then they won't sit right up here. They'll sit a lot lower. And these arms are just a pain in the butt. So yeah. So there you have Masterpiece Movie Ironhide in his vehicle mode. And something you can do with the accessories is you can take the little guns, and you don't have to do this, but there's this tab on the side kind of poops out a little, and you plug it into the side. And actually on the other side is where it plugs in on robot mode. I would have liked it better if it was if this side came out on the robot mode, so that way you wouldn't have to remove the guns and it'd just be all that much, you know, it's just kind of like the option of having it. I'm gonna turn my light off. There we go. And then you put the tab out on this one, and that in there. Okay. That kind of undid itself there. Yep. All right, and there you have it. And you know, it's an option. You know, you gotta love your vehicle storage. And for comparison, here he is with, here, kind of set it like that, so you can kind of get a sense of scale as to how, you know, he compares with vehicles, because you know they were about the same height in robot mode, and so he condenses this down good, quite a considerable bit. And yeah, thing popped off again. I don't think I got the oh, okay, yeah, I didn't have the cab pushed down all the way. There we go. There we go. And then we'll just get Ratchet into his vehicle mode. And here he is in vehicle mode. And they do scale almost perfectly. You know, Hummer would be a little bigger compared to a GMC top kick. So it kind of just stack them up there. So, you know, like I said earlier, until they come out with a Masterpiece Movie Ratchet, Ironhide is going to be sitting with him on my shelf. Because I'm not really... It came undone. Yep. Just tiny tabs for big things. Anyway, so yeah, I think they look good on the shelf together. They scale quite nicely in both vehicle and robot mode, and yeah, I do like the way they look together. You know, it'll definitely fool someone on a passing glance. Yeah, and so there's that. This has been my review of Masterpiece Movie Ironhide, and like I said, I highly recommend this figure. I would pick him up if you could get him around $70. Any more than that is really kind of iffy, because you know I did point out some problems, and there's some wear and tear, and when you in the transformation, because some of the joints are so tight, and sometimes there's not enough clearance. Let me see if I can. Might not be able to show up on camera, or at least my camera, that is. Let's see. Might be the other one. Yeah, probably this one. Oh, yep, here it is. You can see the stretch marks. And oh, there. On these little clips, if you flip them around, and you can't really see the stretch marks on those ones. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, you can kind of see the stretch marks on that. Oh, and these are made of rubber, and when I got one of them wasn't glued in, and so I had to do that myself. But I mean, he's worth the price I paid for him. I got him off eBay for about 60, 70 bucks, and I mean, I think he was worth it for the amount I paid. And you know, some of the stretch marks could have been because it's used, but I didn't think they were there when I opened the box. So yeah, we'll give him his guns back. So yeah, you know, if you can find a good seller, I'll see if the seller that I got it from has any more. I think there was like 4 of them, and they are all used, but I mean, it's a better price. Well, this has been my review. You know, highly recommend it if you can find it for a reasonable price. And thanks for the 2 people that actually watched all my videos to the end. And I'll see you next time.